Hi, how's it going? It's Ricky Stewart here, 3D Leisure at Home. I'm going to help you out with some good spinal mobility exercises that will hopefully help to keep your back in good shape. First thing to remember really with any kind of exercise is that you're working within your capacity with a little bit of persuasion that you can learn a little bit more. So if you're feeling any pain, especially any nerve pain, anything that feels a bit like toothache anywhere in your back or even your shoulder blades, you have to back away from that and try and stay really safe. So the first thing we're going to look at is a little bit of spinal segmentation. So if you've got yourself a dining room chair, this is kind of a good start. And you can do this on your knees, or you can do it like with your hands on something like this. If you're good for hands and knees, that kind of works, but we're starting like a little bit of a modified cat pose. So you tuck your chin, you spread your shoulder blades, and you try and bring your sternum up into your belly. And see how my hips stay still as I move my coccyx, then into the middle of my back, then shoulder blades, and then neck. Then neck, shoulder blades, middle of my back, then lumbar spine, then coccyx. So you see how I'm not pulling my hips through forwards. So I'm not doing this, look, and up back to upright. My hips kind of stay over the top of my feet. And I'm going from cat pose, to lumbar extension, to thoracic extension, to shoulder blades squeezing together, to neck. Then tucking my chin, shoulder blades, rib cage pulls up, tense my belly, into this. And see how I've got a little soft bend in both knees. And I would go for about 10 of these. And they change depending on how you do these. So this is different having my hands on the back of a chair. It's different on doing it on all fours. It's different doing it stood all the way upright. But finding all the different shapes that our spine can do can be really helpful for us to be able to keep movement so that your body doesn't forget how to segment your spine. Then we'll go for a little bit of rotation. Seated rotation is kind of nice with your hands crossed over your chest. See if you can keep your face looking forwards as you squeeze into these corners. Work out how to breathe at the same time as well. Remember that everything's without pain. Maybe about 20 of these. Then we can try for side bends as well. Watch what my head does. Oh, I'm not leaning over like this with my head. It's the same movement, but my eyes trick me whenever I do spine work. If I'm moving my head loads, then my eyes will trick me into thinking that I'm doing loads more. And it looks like I am, but all I'm doing is I've lifted my hip here, I've hung my head over this way. It only needs to be from your spine. Again, about 20 of these side bends. And if you're good, you can maybe try and feel like you can make a little bit of irradiation, like you're tensing all these muscles, your obliques, rectus abdominis, these muscles here, because they're the movers of your spine. And if you can connect to them really well, then hopefully your spine will move really well. And then, if we could try this, you rotate over to one side, do a little crunch, and then do a little extension. Do a little crunch and a little extension. So when you crunch like this, you're trying to curl up, you're trying to tense these muscles here while you're in a little bit of rotation. The idea is that we show our spine, maybe do 10 on each side, trying to show our spine all of the shapes it has available to it. So there's no surprises. If you sleep weird, your body's been here before. It knows how to live in these shapes and how to articulate out of the shapes and into the shapes. And then you're all good. And then everything will work really well. Okay. And then sometimes the muscles in our bum, the muscles in our hips, even down the back of our legs, our posterior chain, if those muscles are tight or locked on, then our lower back can sometimes feel like it's taking a lot of strain. So we can try this little hip stretch for this, all these muscles around the outside of our bum. If you put your ankle up onto your thigh like this, you're trying to push this knee down towards the floor a little bit as you do a neat hinge forwards with your belly. So it's only from here. If it looks like this, look, I've just curled the top of my back around, which is fine, it's not particularly wrong, but I want you to look for this feeling of stretching in the outside of this hip as you hinge forwards. And there's loads of different options for doing this stretch in different ways. So if you look at the shape I'm in now, I'm trying to hinge here with this shin up. You could even use the arm of this sofa as I drop forwards, and that's the same, I'm just standing up, it's just changed a tiny bit. And I would stick in that stretch for between a minute and 2 minutes, and it'll seem like a really long time. If you actually set a timer or watch the clock, it's a long time to be able to hold this shape and explore this feeling of stretching here. What's important is that these muscles, once they're stretched, they can connect and they can do movement. So I would start pushing, after a minute, I'd start pushing my ankle down into my knee, so I can create a little bit of tension in this muscle that was stretching, and keep driving down, driving down, driving down. And then maybe hold onto the side of the chair, and then try and lift this foot, this shin up like this. And I know it's not going to go anywhere, because it's really hard, but I'm going to feel this in this hip flexor. I'm going to train this hip flexor to be able to understand this external rotation of this thigh. Keep holding, holding, holding. 3, 2, 1, and then maybe stretch again. You can even do this stretch the same, just holding onto your foot, holding onto it, and do like a cradle a baby pose like this. If you're flexible enough to be able to get this foot, this heel right up into your elbow crease, and this knee into your other elbow crease, and you can feel that stretch there. That's quite a big ask, that one, it's quite tough, but see how that's kind of a similar shape to doing this. Okay, then we'll do the other leg. Remember that it don't have to be the same from side to side. Maybe you've got one side more flexible than the other. You might be better with the standing one, with it up against the arm of your chair, or even if I did it on this, kneeling on the floor with a cushion under my knee and putting my shin across the seat of the sofa, that could work as well. And we hold this for about a minute, and we push down for only about 30 seconds, so that you can feel like you're connecting to this muscle while it's in its stretched state. Keep breathing, keep learning how to use it, and then grab hold of this, pick it up, and then try and own it. So you take your hands away, pick it up, try and own it, try and feel this hip flexor, maybe hold on to the side of the seat, keep lifting, and then stretch again. And then, once you've done that, maybe swing this leg around like this pendulum swing of the heel, and imagine your femur, this long leg bone here, doing this axial rotation in the hip socket. And you can do it at every kind of position that this hip goes into. Because if your hip performs really well, then your lower back won't have to pick up the slack, which would be great. And then hopefully your back health will improve because your hip health has improved. And we try this on both sides and see if you can feel like you've got control over this. So you need to move slow, maybe hang out in the end ranges, and try it in every position. So maybe try it with your leg out to the side like this as well. Keep breathing, feel that stuff. There we go. And then maybe a little stretch across our thoracic spine, across our shoulder blades. So if you cross your arms over onto your knees, pull your knees apart, and then hinge forwards and curl over forwards, and feel like you can stretch those shoulder blades by pushing your knees further apart. And this is a little bit of what we've been working on here on the muscles on the outside of this hip, feeling like you can stretch shoulder blades. Hold that for about 30 seconds, and then sit up and go into extension. So you go into really proud chest, reach your arms back and squeeze shoulder blades together, and reach your hands down towards the floor, and then reach all the way up and try and get your arms behind your ears and all the way down. Remember about that no pain. So if your shoulders don't work very well, trying this, you can always do this like this, with your arms in front and arms in front. But that is so much better if we can show these shoulder blades how to be in this position where they spread out, and then show the shoulder blades how to perform when they're squeezed together. There might be a few little clicks and things, and that's okay, as long as it's not painful. Work out your breathing as well. And then just try little side bends, a little bit of pulling your rib cage back. So this is like cat pose seated, then into extension. So flexion, extension, flexion, extension, flexion, extension. And maybe just have a little practice of how to breathe with your diaphragm. Because our breathing apparatus, the muscles that we breathe with, your intercostal muscles around your rib cage, your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, obliques, they're all part of this action of pulling the air in so that we can have oxygen and level out our carbon dioxide levels. It comes from here. It's so much nicer when it comes from as low down in your belly as you can. You don't need to breathe big, deep breaths when you just sat still. Try nasal breathing, slowing your breath down so you get hold of it. And while you do that, have a little think about what shape your spine is in, and spend about 3 to 5 minutes just being really mindful of your breathing. It's like an easy meditation. You might find that you sit in different shapes and keep maybe pulling shoulders down and back. If you did that once a day, I'm absolutely sure that your spine will be in much better health if you could show it how to get into all of these different shapes, and you're in control of them all, and you can find them all and articulate back out of them, and just keep moving and keep breathing really well, and hopefully you will be all nice and healthy. All right, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye everyone. Bye.